It's another fascinating weekend of racing action. It's the middle leg of three Betfred sponsored weekends. We're going to look forward to Haydock, York and Chester very shortly with Jason and Frankie. But boys, this is the middle leg, as I say, of three big Betfred weekends. But next week, it is the big one. It's the Betfred Derby Festival, Jason. And you were down at Epsom, as was Frankie, on Tuesday, just getting a bit of a feel for the place.
Well, I think the first thing to notice was how good the turf was looking on the track compared to the infield. You know, we don't normally get a real good view because we've got the open top buses and everything else down there. So the squad have been working incredibly hard, and all the sort of groundwork was going on. They're putting in all the infrastructure of where everybody is going to be positioned. You'll know who the sponsor is when you get down there. There's no mistake in that. It's a little bit like the 1 and 2,000 guineas Betfred sponsored festival as well. So yeah, it's going to be a belter.
Yeah, it's a shame the grass has got to be green, hasn't it? Won't mind that being blue and red as well, Frankie.
Yeah, well, it certainly will be lit up with Betfred. I can't wait for the weekend. It was good to get down there because I say this all the time when you go back to the big race courses and the big festivals, whether it's for the Betfred Derby weekend or whether it's Cheltenham or Ascot, but once you actually get onto the race course, whether there's not a soul there or on race day when it's packed, you just start to think about the race and how it might unfold. And we saw three contenders for the Betfred Derby. Whether this is just the nature of James Doyle being a good speaker or whether it was a little bit of bubbling excitement for him, I thought that he was most positive out of the three jockeys that rode on that morning about how Damasus handled the track. I think the quote that probably sticks in people's mind was he went round there like a race car. So I think he was impressed that Damasus went round the turn particularly well, which is always a positive when you're thinking about the Betfred Derby. And it surprises me actually that more horses don't go and do that because it is such a unique track, and just getting one look at it, if it fitted in with your schedule and it wasn't too much hard work to get a horse down there, I'm surprised more don't do it for a little advantage. And yeah, you know, it might pay to his strengths when it comes to the big day.
I know some say they only ever go down there once, don't they? And you might as well wait till the actual derby for it to happen. But that's all to come, of course. So subscribe to this channel because I can promise you lots of content build up to the Betfred Derby Festival is on its way. You'll hear from Frankie's interviews from the jockeys and trainers that were at the Gallop this morning, but also be an exclusive interview as I was very fortunate enough myself to head over to Aidan O'Brien to see his contenders for each of the Betfred Derby, the Betfred Oaks and the Betfred Coronation Cup. Now all three Group 1s like next weekend are sponsored by us here at Betfred. So subscribe, and you're notified when all of that content is available on our Betfred YouTube channel. But wouldn't it be nice, boys, to go to Epsom with some winners? So let's point us in the right direction then, starting at Haydock with this 148. It's the Betfred Supports Jack Berry House. It's the Reverence Handicap, named after that super sprinter, Jace.
Yeah, what a wonderful old horse he was, who just kept on going through the grades. Trying to remember now, Willie Supple used to ride him. There's a blast from the past, isn't it? I believe he's back home in Ireland now. Some old favourites in here, the likes of Dakota Gold and King's Lynn. King's Lynn, who's already got himself a couple of big wins down this strip back in the day. A long time ago, though. I think we need to leave it to the fairly younger ones in the lineup. Durham Castle has been nothing short of super impressive the last twice. He was a big improver. I think that ground is absolutely fine. The team are in really, really good condition. Obviously, they'll be represented with Sea Scout in the Betfred Derby, who managed to win the trial there earlier on. So the team are hot. He's looking for the hat-trick. Why won't he win?
Yeah, I'm quite keen. I know he's one of my bets of the weekend, Durham Castle. Still looked really green last time out. I'm not sure a £9 rise will certainly stop him. So yeah, he's certainly going to be on the short list. What about you, Frankie?
Yeah, I don't mind Durham Castle either. If I was trying to find something at a bit of a bigger price to have a go at, maybe Pal's Battalion, who was pretty progressive on the all-weather through the winter, went up I think £9 or £10 on the all-weather, and probably a bit disappointed not to have won on either of his two starts back on turf. He was a little bit unlucky last time out. He's being nudged up the weights, but I still think he's in with a fair chance of getting his nose in front.
Yeah, Pal's behind the price, but yeah, I think Durham Castle, a big player, despite the big field in the Reverence. We move on then to a listed contest at 223. The listed Achilles Stakes over the minimum trip of 5 films. A few of these, Jason, are on a bit of a retrieval mission.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be no hanging about, will there? I mean, Democracy Dilemma is probably one of the quickest over 3.5 furlongs, isn't he? A lot of these were in the Rumstar race, so they're all trying to step up again. Now, you boys, thankfully, you've never had the fridge chained or the door chained, so you can't get inside it, right? William Buick is down the bottom there, 8 stone 8. Now that is his lowest riding weight in the last 12 months. He has managed to do it previously, but it's not a regular occurrence, trust me. So we normally see him getting down to these sort of weights when he's riding in the Breeders' Cup and the likes. He must have had the heads up from Carl Burke. Carl wouldn't ask him to forego a pretty strict training regime to get down to that weight to ride Leovani. Now, I know she's got a little bit to find on official figures, but she's rated 104. She gets an £8 weight for age allowance, and Buick getting down to ride real light. I think it's a bit of a pointer.
Fresh from his four-timer at Haydock last weekend, William Buick got big chances again this weekend on Merseyside. Leovani then, interesting case off that lightweight. So what do you make of it, Frankie?
Yeah, it's an interesting angle in there. I'd like to see no half measures run a big race, but I just do wonder still on good, maybe slightly quick-sided good ground again, which got her unstuck last time out. Shagran has got a good bit of match fitness, ran well the last 2 times, albeit over 5 furlongs, has won here before. The race that American Affair won, he ran in last time out. American Affair, I didn't think ran a bad race in the Betfred Temple Stakes. So not 6 furlongs, in 5 furlongs, he's got a good bit of speed, good bit of match fitness, and has won well here before. So I wouldn't be putting you off an each-way poke on Shagran.
Is Jasur at the top of the pack, Mac? I'm just thinking now because
Roughly.
He's one of those. He's got Group 1 winning or Group 1 form, really, really solid. But I just don't know. Clive Cox's, they normally take a run, don't they?
Yeah, he's had a wind up, as he should have run last weekend at Salisbury, but they pulled him out of account with the ground there, so he's making his season return here. Yeah, I mean, he did look like he was going to be a superstar, didn't he, as a juvenile? So he's interesting. I think it is a watching brief on him tomorrow, and obviously any big performance here could see winners Royal Ascot bound. But yeah, certainly, Jasur is certainly one to keep an eye on. And that's going to take me nicely into the next race, the Betfred Nifty 50 Leicester Piggott, the Pinnacle Stakes over a mile and a half. One of the horses that I've been most looking forward to seeing this year, on the back of her win at Doncaster at the back end, was Estrange. She's had a couple of engagements, pulled out. She's got Group 1 entries, Irish Oaks and the Arc, and the rain is around for her, Jason.
That's the key. She's got an Arc entry. She has long been the apple of O'Meara's eye. Now, she made on bottom or pretty testing ground. She bolted up on debut. She then came up to Newmarket, up to Yarmouth, my neck of the woods, for the John Musker, and it was rattling quick ground. Didn't really happen for her there. And then they take her to Doncaster. She won as she liked. It's got to be a bit of a question mark, hasn't it, as to stamina with her, because she's not short of natural pace. Sire of the moment, Knight of Thunder. He'll be trying to win the Betfred Oaks again, obviously with a Red Hot Godolphin runner. But yeah, look, she could be particularly special. I thought that Shahar got an exceptional ride when winning down at Goodwood, and we've got a bit of intertwining form with that later on. Swano, who goes over at York, so that'll give you an angle in when you're looking forward to the 3:15. Keep an eye on how Shahar gets on, but Estrange, she could be something special.
Yeah, there's a few in that Bronte at York, which are behind Shahar last time. I'll come to that shortly, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Estrange tomorrow, Frankie.
Yes, but some nice horses in behind, wasn't there, at Donny? Danielle, Diamond Rain, she's won well since. So I can see you thinking, backing her maybe back first time out. I quite like the look of her. I think she was still learning last time out when she won. And if you take out her fourth, which was on bottomless ground over in France, she's second, first, and very much a filly on the up. So I'll be siding with her, and Jace has beat me to it with that line of thinking over at York as well.
I'll come to that in a second. I just want to mention Chorus as well. William Haggis' horses in this race always need a second look with his wife Maureen, obviously being Leicester Piggott's daughter. They always try to target and win his race, and they've had plenty of success in it, so don't discount Chorus in that either. Then we've got the feature There were 333 over 7 furlongs. It is the Betfred John O'Gord, and a bigger field than we normally get here. 12 of them, Jason, over the specialist 7 furlong trip. And again, with a big field of 12, draw could be key.
It's the long sprint, isn't it? I think we've mentioned this before. It's like 800 meters for the humans. You've got to be prepared to run ugly, right? It's not like the 100-meter runners or the milers or whatever. It's a real grind. This is 7 furlongs. What an absolute belter. Kinross, he won this back in 2021, believe it or not. Alianabi, who we thought was the Guineas horse, he got an easy freewheeling front running time up on the bunny last time. And then you got the likes of 10 Bob Tony, Spy Catcher, Room Service, an interesting runner for Kevin Ryan. I don't know what you think. Now, it's difficult, very difficult, to win from a wide draw over the mile, never mind 7 furlongs. But Kikuli has long been thought of as a superstar for the Charlton team. He's a little bit of an in-and-out performer. Maybe he's a bit soft, I don't know. But Oisin Murphy on board, he was dropped in. He's got to turn the form around with Alianabi, and he's not drawn as well. But I feel, bit of dig in the ground, massive each-way price. He's going to be flying fast and late. If it was quick ground, you'd have no chance from the back of the pack at Haydock. But in a field like this where they're going to go quick, he might be an each-way play.
Yeah, and they do tend to come middle to stand so, which may negate the effect of the draw slightly. So he certainly caught my eye. I was a bit put off by the stall 12 angle, but there is that to consider, Frankie, and obviously it's probably factored into his price.
Yeah, it's a serious race, as Jay said. I've loved following Kim Ross's career. I probably wouldn't be backing him giving away £5 to the field here, but yeah, some proper horses in here, and I spent a long time kind of scratching my head at this, and I just keep coming back to audience maybe being that little bit too good. He's a class act. He's great over the trip. He was consistent for the most part of all of last year. Don't think he was ever going to really run a great race over in Dubai, over 6. I suppose the question mark is his later season plans and this not being the be-all and end-all, but just think he's a class act and might still be able to win this.
Yeah, well, the Lockings, of course, didn't he? Beating Charing, and he also beat Charing last year. Right. So audience then for Frankie. Right, we've still got 3 more races to come. We're in the Roman cities of York and Chester. Before, though, I was going to mention a special show that we've got for you live on Tuesday night on our Betfred YouTube channel. It is our Betfred Derby preview, 7 o'clock. Make sure you join us for that. So we'll have lots of thoughts and opinions. And looking forward to doing that. So Tuesday, 7 o'clock, a Betfred Derby preview show. We'll touch on the Betfred Derby, the Oaks, the Coronation Cup and other races at the Betfred Derby Festival. So stay tuned for that. Right, let's head to York then. We've got a sprint at 2:40 over the 5 furlongs. And it's one of those, Jason, where everyone seems to take their turn in these 5 furlong sprints. But JM Jungle, he's just a model of consistency, isn't he, at the top of the weights?
Oh, I love a sprint, right? I love to try and give it the old swing for the rafters here. I think we found one. Now, Bond Chairman, currently trading at the longest price on the board. Starts out for the new stable. He's absolutely thrown in. He's got a peak rating of over 100. He's down on a mark of 84. He goes for the Old Droid team. PJ McDonald on board. He has got not only good form at York, he's got amazing form in big field handicaps. He goes well fresh, and he's off the back of 190, somewhere around that days away. He is so well handicapped. Oh, mate, I was looking. He was 25, 20, 16s. It's all dotted around, but he's a big player. First run for the team.
That's what we're loving for, isn't it? A big price in these big handicaps. He's pulled them out of left field, and they're usually knocking on the door at the business end. There we are then. He's got the bat out. He's swung for the rafters, Frankie. He's trying to knock one out of the park. Bond Chairman, what are you going for?
Well, I can't go with JM Jungle now, can I?
Of course you can. We'll have both ends of the market covered.
Well, I'm not miles off, to be honest. I like Loom. Was second here last time out in a big handicap. 22 runners. Worked his way through the field quite nicely. He's obviously a horse on the up. And anything that runs well in a sprint at York, I don't mind siding with again off the similar sort of weights, because you've got to be a horse that takes to running in a sprint at York, haven't you? And he did a good job last time out. So Loom to be looming up as the finish line gets closer, and Bond Chairman just gets done on the line.
Yeah, well, I'll take that. And you get the £3, or you get the massive weight for age allowance, one of 2 3-year-olds in the lineup, you and Zaire. That was a massive run behind the man last time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take a forecast. We're happy with that. Either way, a reverse forecast. Right, let's look at this Bronte filly stakes. And you mentioned Shahar, of course, who runs in the 258 at Haydock, which is a big form pointer because we had, when she won at Goodwood, we had Scenic in second, Sueno in fourth, and Alonzi back in fifth, Jason.
Yeah, Sueno was a strange one, wasn't it? Seemed to get sort of chopped and checked in the run. She's got a wonderful pedigree. She has, probably about 11, 12 pounds to find with the top rated in the lineup, but we're only just scratching the surface with her, aren't we? It's that sort of race that if the likes of Jane Temple, were there one more runner and we got the front three, you'd be taking a swing at her at a huge each way price as well. But Sueno has got to be the first string. Ryan Moore has been booked for George Strawbridge, and I think it's a bit of a pointer that Ryan is up on board as well. So she was unlucky, I think, at Goodwood.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. He's got a book of 4 rides, hasn't he? I wondering why Ryan Moore would be at York. He's got a decent book of rides, as he always seems to get hold of. I'm just working out which one he was actually the one he's gone for, Frankie.
Yeah, there's venture capital in it. Was it? I can't remember what was I fighting. He was riding in that
venture
handicap,
capital.
Isn't he? No, he's always worth looking out for, isn't he? When he's on some less obvious rides or pops up in handicaps, he's obviously a man to follow. I thought saying it would run well. She won really nicely at York previously, and I didn't think she ran too badly at Goodwood last time out. A couple of extra furlongs. I don't think she'd appreciate it being any sort of sprint, but if it turns into a bit of a test, she'll come down the hill quite nicely, and I think she can run a big race.
You bit the nail on the head there, because like Davina Grace, I'm not sure trip-wise. Alonzi probably does stay, but is she the absolute class? And then when you look at 1 or 2, I mean, Scenic, I know she's placed over this trip, but I'd argue that she's better over 1.5 miles, maybe even 1.3 miles might be ideal. So you want something that's going to stay, and it's the type of race, isn't it? Ryan will just go and take the race by the scruff of the neck and get on with it.
I'll tell you what I did find not amusing, but just you wouldn't see it often, would you? Is a filly that's won plenty of group races on the flat for Henry de Bromred, and then switched to William Haggis to have another crack on the flat. It almost seems back to front. You might get a jumps horse come to a flat trainer for going over hurdles, but she did a good enough job on the flat for Henry, didn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. And they picked her up. She was a fortune for the team. They paid a pretty penny for her, 1.8, I think it was, at the sales. So yes, they're obviously thinking further down the line as well, the broodmare angle.
Yeah, term of endearment there at the bottom. Right, then the final race we'll look at, the other Roman city, we've got Chester. Now, Frankie's going to be on the Rudy. Jason's going to focus on that, of course, for Sky this weekend as well. And these 7 furlong Chester handicaps are probably trickier there than anywhere. You've got that straight run on the viaduct side, Jason, and then you're on the turn all the way. So the draw is still key, but not as important as over the shorter distances. But with the ground to consider as well, this is a real pin job, isn't it?
No, not at all. This got to be a point and shoot, hasn't it?
We're thinking the same thing, Jason.
Never So Brave. So Brave was a non-runner at the festival a few weeks ago. Why was that? Because he was parked out in the car park. But he wasn't well. He didn't eat up. He got a self-certificate or something. Hopefully he's eating up tomorrow, because he's landed in stall 6. I bet they're shoving carrots into him right now. So he will be pinging from stall number 6. Also, added to that, I'm fascinated with him. He's 16-1 at the moment for the Wokingham. That probably will disappear if he was to go and win here. He's probably caught between 2 stalls. He gets 7. They've tried to stretch him out to a miler. First run for the Balding team. He's gelded. He's had the cruelest cut of all. He's ready to roll.
There we are. And we all look at it. It's that kind of feel, isn't it? Obviously, we've got the Betfred Derby Festival next week. But you're thinking now, Royal Ascot. Some of these are sharpening their pencils, honing their skills, ready for Royal Ascot. So if you fancy them with one of the big ones at the Royal Meeting, have a look at the anti-post markets now. Frankie, you'll be there. What are you welcoming to the winners' enclosure?
Point and shoot, and I suppose I can add to Jace's comment about him being a little bit unwell for his wide draw at the May Festival. I did a couple of yard tours ahead of the May Festival for Chester, and they were really looking forward to him running. They were quite excited about him going back to Chester. So I think that they'll be really pleased with his progress since he's come from Sir Michael Stout's. He obviously won on the Rudy before. It's an obvious place for them to go back. They love having winners there. I'd say the price that he is now probably won't last up until the race. I'd say he'll be backed.
Okay, unanimous. Never So Brave. So much we thinking it was a tricky one, and you're both unanimous. Thinking it's a point and shoot. Never So Brave then in the 210. Jason, would that be your best bet of the weekend, or is it elsewhere?
I think you're point and shoot. Listen, Bond Chairman, when I looked at him, I couldn't believe he was the longest price on the board. He goes well fresh. He's dangerously well handicapped. And
as well.
and he's a big each way price as well, so that'll do for me.
It's all right, we'll edit that out, they'll never know.
The Royal Hunt Cup. Make sure you say that properly.
We got that one right. We can take Handicraft. We'll keep the Royal Hunt Cup as it is. Frankie?
Never So Brave would be my best bet of the weekend. And then, as I mentioned at the top of the show, the first race we looked at, Pell's Battalion. I quite like in the 148 at Haydock on the Betfred sponsored card if you want to find a winner there.
Brilliant. Cheers for that, boys. Right, fingers crossed we win a few quid at this weekend, because the next time you'll see us three boys together will be on the hallowed turf of Epsom Downs for the Betfred Derby Festival. So just to recap what we've got coming up, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, a live stream show on our Betfred YouTube channel of a Betfred Derby Festival preview. And then obviously subscribe, you get to know all the latest news and interviews coming your way. We've got Aidan O'Brien exclusive interview which will land in the Betfred YouTube channel shortly, and all of Frankie's interviews as well from the Epsom Gallops morning. We cannot wait for the greatest race, the Betfred Derby at Epsom next week. We'll see both these guys there, and hopefully you can join us.